Welcome to another episode of the Part 145 EASA training from Phoenix Way Academy. Hi, I'm Sarah.
Hi, and I'm Sam.
In our previous deep dive, we started unpacking, well, a really critical area, Clause 145.A.30 personnel requirements. We looked at the basics EASA sets out for making sure maintenance staff are, genuinely competent.
Right. Not just present, but skilled.
Exactly. So, today, we're going even deeper. We'll continue exploring the acceptable means of compliance, the AMCs that guide organizations on building and, crucially, maintaining that level of skill and safety.
That's right. We've looked through the source material, and we're zeroing in on several key AMCs today. They really provide the blueprint for competence and training.
What are we covering specifically?
Well, everything from those initial skill assessments right through to specialized safety training. It's all about ensuring you have the right people with the right skills doing the right things consistently.
Especially in aviation maintenance where precision is everything.
Couldn't agree more.
So let's unpack this then. Where are we starting?
We're kicking things off with AMC 145.A.30 personnel requirements. This one focuses squarely on the competency assessment procedure.
Right, the procedure itself. Because saying someone is competent isn't enough. You need a process to, prove it right.
Precisely. It's foundational. This AMC demands a systematic approach. The core idea, and I'll read a bit here, the organization should develop a procedure that describes the process for conducting competency assessments of personnel. The procedure should specify.
Okay, so no winging it. You need a written plan.
Exactly. A documented plan. And it's not just a high-level thing. The AMC lists 9 specific items that this procedure must detail.
9. Okay, let's break those down. What's first?
First up, point 1. The persons who are responsible for this process.
Accountability. So knowing who owns the assessment process.
Yes. It assigns clear accountability. Maybe it's a line manager for the technicians on the floor, or perhaps a dedicated training manager overseeing the whole company's framework.
Got it. So everyone knows who's in charge of making sure assessments happen correctly. What's number 2?
Number 2 is when these assessments should take place.
The timing. Not just when someone starts.
No, definitely not just a one-off. It emphasizes it's ongoing. Think initial hire, yes, but also when staff move into new roles, take on new responsibilities, or maybe even after performance reviews to make sure skills are still current.
Right, especially with new aircraft tech or procedures coming online all the time.
Exactly. Next, point 3. How to give credit from previous assessments.
Oh, that sounds efficient. So you don't have to redo everything.
Right. It avoids unnecessary repetition. If a mechanic transfers from, say, another approved Part 145 org, or even just moves between bases in the same company, and they've got recent, relevant assessments.
You can take those into account.
Yes. The procedure needs to outline how you do that, potentially reducing the need for a full reassessment on those same skills. Smart.
Makes sense. What's point 4?
Point 4 is how to validate qualification records.
Okay. Checking the paperwork is real.
Pretty much. Ensuring the documents are legitimate. So someone shows up with a certificate, you need a process to maybe cross-reference it with the issuing body or verify their previous employment records to confirm the experience they claim.
Crucial for trust and safety. Okay, number 5.
Number 5. 5. The means and methods to be used for the initial assessment.
So how you actually assess someone first time around.
Yep. What tools are you using? It could be a mix, maybe written tests, practical demonstrations, interviews, or even that initial period of supervised work we'll talk more about.
Okay. And then point 6 must be about keeping it going.
You got it. Point 6 outlines the means and methods to be used for the continuous control of competency, including how to gather feedback on the performance of personnel.
Continuous control and feedback. So moving beyond just the initial check.
Absolutely. This is about ongoing performance. Think regular reviews, quality checks on completed work, feedback from supervisors, maybe even using data from safety reports. It creates that vital feedback loop.
Okay, 7.
Point 7, the aspects of competencies to be observed during the assessment in relation to each job function.
Tailoring it to the role. Makes sense.
Critical. An assessment for a sheet metal worker needs to focus on their specific skills repairs. Fabrication, while an avionics tech needs assessment on diagnostics, electrical system software, and so on. Not one size fits all.
Right. Different jobs, different competency focus. What if someone doesn't pass?
That's point 8, the actions to be taken if the assessment is not satisfactory.
So what happens next?
The procedure needs a clear plan. It could be targeted remedial training, maybe more supervision for a while, a reassessment later, or in some cases, maybe even a change in job function if it's just not the right fit.
A clear pathway to address gaps.
Okay.
Good. And the last one, 9.
Finally, point 9, how to record the assessment results.
The record keeping. Always important for audits.
Essential. For audit trails, for managing ongoing development. Could be digital records, could be detailed paper files signed off by everyone involved. Needs to be clear and accessible.
Okay, that's a comprehensive list for the procedure. But AMC2 has more, doesn't it? Something about supervised work.
Yes, this is really interesting. Clause B. Let me read this bit. Competency may be assessed by having the person work under the supervision of another qualified person for a sufficient time to arrive at a conclusion. Sufficient time could range from several days to several weeks, depending on the complexity of the tasks and the work exposure.
So, assessing someone by watching them do the job.
Exactly. It recognizes that sometimes the best way to see if someone's truly competent is to observe them in action under guidance. Think of a new mechanic shadowed by a senior tech on complex engine work.
You see their skills, their problem solving, their safety habits in real time.
Precisely. And it adds, the person need not be assessed against the complete spectrum of their intended duties. And also, if the person has been recruited from another approved maintenance organization, a written confirmation from the previous organization could be taken into consideration to reduce the duration of the assessment.
So flexibility based on the task complexity and maybe leveraging previous experience? Practical.
Very practical. It acknowledges that skills are often best judged and built on the job.
And there's one more part to AMC2, right? Clause C.
Yes, Clause C. It's short but vital. All prospective maintenance staff should be assessed for their competency related to their intended duties.
Prospective staff, so before they even start properly.
Before they touch an aircraft or component in an unsupervised capacity, their competence for their specific role must be confirmed first. It's a key safety gate.
Proactive safety, like you said. Okay, so summing up AMC2.
It really hammers home that competency assessment has to be systematic, it has to be documented, but it's also flexible, allowing for things like supervised assessment. And crucially, it's always tailored to the job, especially for new hires, building that solid foundation of proven skill.
Right, a solid foundation. Now, once you've got that initial assessment, how do you keep those skills sharp? That leads us to the next AMC.
Exactly. That brings us to AMC 145.A.30E, personnel requirements. This one zeroes in on initial and recurrent training because, like you said, competence isn't static.
It definitely isn't in aviation. So what does AMC3 mandate here?
Well, Clause A lays it out clearly. Adequate initial and recurrent training should be provided in relation to the job function to ensure that staff remain competent. Completion of such training should be recorded.
Adequate initial and recurrent, so training when they start or take on something new and then regular refreshers?
Yes. Think about, say, a new aircraft type coming into the fleet or a significant new maintenance procedure. That requires initial training. Then recurrent training keeps those skills fresh, addresses any drift, maybe incorporates new lessons learned.
And the records are key again, proof of training.
Absolutely. Essential for compliance, for tracking individual development.
Now, AMC3 has something interesting linking training to safety reporting, doesn't it?
It does, and this is fascinating. Clause B states, recurrent training should take into account the information reported through the internal safety reporting scheme, see point C3, of AMC 145.A.202.
Okay, so the safety data actually shapes the training.
Precisely. This is where safety management and training really connect. It's not just generic refreshers. If your safety reports show, say, a trend in misinterpreting wiring diagrams or issues with following specific procedures,
then your recurrent training should specifically address those things.
Exactly. It makes the training responsive and incredibly relevant. It helps turn safety data into tangible improvements in performance. It's that continuous improvement loop in action.
That's powerful, using real-world issues to prevent future ones. What else is in IMC3?
There's Clause C, which focuses on a specific group. Those responsible for managing the compliance monitoring function should receive training on this task. Such training should cover the requirements of compliance monitoring, manuals and procedures related to the task, audit techniques, reporting, and recording.
Specific training for the compliance monitoring managers. Why the special mention, do you think?
Well, these are the people ensuring the whole system works as intended, that the organization follows the rules, follows its own procedures. They're like the internal auditors, in a way.
So their understanding needs to be rock solid.
Absolutely. They need rigorous training on how to audit effectively, how to interpret regulations, understand the MOE, report findings accurately. Their role is critical for maintaining the organization's overall compliance and safety integrity.
Okay, so summing up AMC3.
It really highlights that training is this ongoing dynamic process. It's driven by the job function, it should be directly influenced by safety data, and it's especially critical for those who oversee compliance, keeping everyone sharp and the system robust.
Keeping the system robust, which leads naturally into the broader topic of safety training itself.
Indeed. Which brings us to AMC 4, 145.A.30E, personnel requirements. This one is titled Safety Training, including human factors.
Human factors, understanding the why behind errors, not just the what.
Exactly. It's about understanding how people interact with systems, technology, procedures, and each other, and how factors like fatigue, stress, communication, and workplace culture can lead to errors.
So who needs this training according to AMC4?
Clause A.
Clause A starts broadly. With respect to the understanding of the application of safety management principles, including human factors, all maintenance organization personnel should be assessed for the need to receive initial safety training. But then it gets specific about who must receive both initial and recurrent training.
Okay, who's on that list?
It's quite comprehensive. Personnel involved in the delivery of the basic maintenance service, which includes nominated persons, line managers, supervisors, certifying staff, support staff and mechanics, technical support personnel, such as planners, engineers, technical record staff, persons involved in compliance monitoring and/or safety management-related processes, including internal investigations and safety training, specialized services staff, stores department staff, purchasing department staff, ground equipment operators.
Wow, even stores and purchasing staff. Why them? Because, as we touched on, everyone's part of the safety chain. A mistake in stores issuing the wrong part, maybe, or in purchasing not verifying a supplier properly, can have serious safety consequences down the line. Human factors principles apply everywhere. Understanding workload, communication, potential for error. It's relevant to all these roles.
Right, the ripple effect. Okay, so once you know who needs it, what about the training content? Clause B.
Clause B says, initial safety training should cover all the topics of the training syllabus specified in GM1 145.A.30E. We'll touch on that GM briefly later. Either as a dedicated course or else integrated within other training.
Integrated, so it doesn't have to be a separate course.
Correct. It could be woven into other relevant technical training. And importantly, it adds, the syllabus may be adjusted to reflect the particular nature of the organization. The syllabus may also be adjusted to suit the particular nature of work for each function within the organization.
So again, tailoring it. A planner might focus more on safety implications of scheduling, a mechanic on workshop safety practices.
Exactly. And it also covers timing for new recruits. All personnel identified should receive initial safety training, compliant with the organization's training standards prior to commencing the actual job function, unless their competency assessment justifies that there is no need, which would be rare. New, directly employed personnel working under direct supervision may receive training within 6 months after joining.
So ideally before they start, but a bit of leeway for supervised new staff.
Practical. Yes. Then Clause C deals with keeping it current.
Recurrent safety training.
Right. The purpose of recurrent safety training is primarily to ensure that staff remain current in terms of SMS principles and human factors, and also to collect feedback on safety and human factors issues.
Feedback again, so it's a two-way street.
Very much so. The training refreshes knowledge, but it's also an opportunity to gather insights from the workforce about real-world safety challenges, and it continues. It should be of an appropriate duration in each 2-year period in relation to the relevant compliance monitoring, audit findings, and other internal-external sources of information.
Every 2 years, and driven by audits and safety data, similar to the recurrent technical training.
Yes, that same principle of responsiveness. If audits find issues with, say, communication during handovers, the recurrent HF training should hit that hard.
Makes sense. Who can deliver this training? Clause D.
Clause D offers flexibility. Safety training may be conducted by the maintenance organization itself, independent trainers, or any training organizations acceptable to the competent authority. So, in-house, external experts, approved training providers, all are options.
As long as the quality is there. And the last point, E.
Clause E ties it all together formally. The safety training procedures should be specified in the MOE.
Back to the maintenance organization exposition, documenting the process.
Exactly. It ensures safety training is a formal, managed part of the organization's system, not just an afterthought.
Okay, so AMC4 summary. Safety and human factors training for essentially everyone, tailored to their role, kept fresh every 2 years, responsive to real safety data, and formally documented in the MOE.
couldn't have put it better myself. It's about embedding that safety mindset, that human factors awareness right across the organization.
Right across the board. Now, are there other types of training covered by these AMCs beyond the general competency and safety HF training?
Yes, indeed. That takes us to our final AMC for today, AMC 5 145.A.30E, Personnel Requirements, which covers other training.
Other trainings, like what?
This AMC highlights the need for specialized knowledge. Clause A states, the organization should assess the need for particular trainings, for example, with regard to the Electrical Wiring Interconnection System, EWIS, or Critical Design Configuration Control Limitations, CDCCL.
EWIS and CDCCL, these sound specific and important.
They are, extremely. EASA training is crucial for anyone working on the complex wiring in modern aircraft, understanding diagrams, proper repair techniques, preventing damage that could lead to failures.
And CDCCL.
That relates to specific critical design features, often related to fuel systems or other areas where modifications or improper maintenance could have catastrophic consequences. Think things that are critical for maintaining airworthiness as designed. This training ensures people understand why certain things absolutely must not be altered.
So the organization needs to figure out if they need this training based on the work they do and then provide it.
Precisely. And the AMC helps point them in the right direction. Clause B says, guidance on EWIS training program for maintenance organization personnel is provided in AMC 2022.
So specific guidance material exists for E-Way.
Yes, it directs them to detailed requirements. And similarly, for fuel tank safety, Clause C points to, guidance on fuel tank safety training is provided in Appendix IV to AMC 5 145.A.30E and AMC 2 145.B.20A3.
Fuel tank safety incredibly critical given history, again pointing to detailed guidance.
Exactly. These aren't areas where you can guess. The regulations point towards specific, detailed training requirements because the risks are so high.
So AMC 5 is about recognizing and addressing the need for highly specialized training beyond the general requirement.
That's the core message. Competency includes mastering these critical niche areas where applicable.
Okay. We've covered AMCs 2, 3, 4, and 5. You mentioned a GM related to the safety training syllabus.
Yes, just a quick mention of GMM 145.A.30E. It provides the training syllabus for initial safety training, including human factors.
So what's the key takeaway from that guidance material?
The main thing is its flexibility. It outlines core topics, things like safety culture, human error, communication, fatigue management, but stresses that organizations can adapt it.
Adapt how?
They can combine topics, change the order, tailor the depth, as long as everything gets covered appropriately for the audience.
Yeah.
It strongly encourages using practical examples, case studies, even accident reports relevant to the organization's work.
And make it real, not just theoretical.
Exactly. Keep it relevant and practical to drive the safety message home effectively. Focus on the why and how in their specific context.
Right. That makes sense. So reflecting on all these AMCs we've discussed today, AMC 2, 3, 4, and 5, what's the big picture for our listeners?
I think the big picture is the sheer robustness of the system EASA has created around personnel. It's not just about having qualifications on paper. It's about a continuous cycle.
A cycle of what?
A cycle of assessment, training, feedback, and adaptation. From rigorously checking initial competency under AMC 2 to ensuring ongoing technical skills with AMC 3, embedding universal safety and human factors understanding via AMC 4, and addressing critical specializations like EWIS with AMC 5.
It all connects.
It all connects into this integrated system designed to ensure that the people maintaining aircraft are not just qualified, but demonstrably competent, safety-aware, and continuously developing throughout their careers.
It really does sound like more than just compliance. It sounds like building a culture.
That's exactly it. It's about fostering a culture of safety, competence, and continuous improvement. It's that culture, underpinned by these regulations, that ultimately ensures airworthiness and protects lives. Now, it's important to remember, these notes are only part of the AMCs related to Clause 145.A.30. In the next episodes, we will go into more detail about the remaining AMCs.
Follow us on social media under the name Phoenix Way Academy.
Thanks for listening. Stay safe and stay informed.